If you love growing your own food, these 5 crops will blow your mind. They survived colonization, drought, and thousands of years without chemical inputs. Some fix nitrogen, some grow in pure rock, and one feeds pollinators and people. Why are we still planting weak crops when these exist? You'll want every one of these in your garden. Let's dig into the 5 most overlooked power plants. Before we dig in, I want to say this. Nothing you're about to see survived by accident. These crops were erased because they were too resilient, too independent. If you believe food shouldn't rely on chemicals, corporations, or constant inputs, subscribe. It's a small action, but it helps bring these power plants back where they belong. Amaranth, a grain so powerful it was banned by priests, and somehow it ended up in school lunchboxes. Take a spoonful of amaranth, and you're holding a secret that once powered Aztec war strategy. Back in the 1400s, before battle, fighters ate a sticky mix called zoali, amaranth and honey smashed into a dough. Locals swore it gave them strength beyond normal. Some believed it was divine fuel, and that belief got the grain erased. When Spain landed in Tenochtitlan in 1519, their war wasn't just about swords. They came after food. Amaranth showed up in native rituals, and that alone made it a threat. Penalties hit hard. Entire fields were dug under. Seeds were burned. One friar even bragged that if people stopped using it, the devil loses his food. That's how serious they were. But the story didn't end there. Amaranth went underground, hidden in remote valleys, passed from grandmother to grandchild. It quietly held on, outliving empires. Then, centuries later, something unexpected happened. In the 1970s, plant scientists looked closer. What they saw changed everything. Turns out, this weed is loaded with protein, between 15 and 18% depending on the type, with all 9 essential amino acids. That's more than wheat and more than maize. Nutritionist Kylie Sakita told Vogue, "Amaranth is higher in plant-based protein compared to many other grain-like foods. Just one cooked cup gives you about 9 grams. But forget the lab. Here's what makes it wild. It grows almost anywhere. Across trials in Austria, India, and Zimbabwe, it keeps producing. Some reports show yields of up to 7.2 tons per hectare, which is insane for a crop that asks for so little. It doesn't mind the heat. Its deep roots hunt water, and it keeps going even in rough soil. One recent study just came out and called it a climate-resilient supercrop, plain and direct. Even a backyard garden can feel it. 1 kilo of seed fills a whole hectare. Plants shoot past 2 meters. Seed heads explode with hundreds of thousands of grains. In Oaxaca, kids eat it in school porridge now, and villages track better nutrition than with maize alone. All you do? Keep the soil moist, then leave it. Amaranth thrives on neglect. It survived fire, bans, and drought. Imagine what happens when gardeners welcome it back. Quinoa, a crop that laughs at thin air, then caught the attention of NASA scientists. High in the Andes, long before protein labels mattered, quinoa kept entire villages alive. Archaeologists trace its farming back over 5,000 years, carved into stone terraces where maize simply gave up. In those mountains, Inca farmers called quinoa Chisaya Mama, the mother of all grains, because when frost hit and rain failed, this plant still delivered food. And it still does. Walk through fields in Bolivia and Peru above 3,500 meters, and you'll see quinoa flowering, where oxygen runs thin and metal tools bite cold. That alone makes it strange. But the numbers push it further. Trials show quinoa tolerates temperatures from -8 degrees Celsius up to 38 degrees Celsius, shrugs off drought, and grows in soils ranging from acidic to salty, with pH stretching from about 5 to 10. The FAO reports farmers growing it from sea level in Chile all the way up to 4,000 meters on the Altiplano. Few crops travel that far without breaking. Nutrition pulled quinoa into the spotlight. Lab analyses repeatedly land its protein between 14 and 20%, with a complete amino acid profile that outperforms several staple grains. An FAO booklet put it plainly, calling quinoa a grain that contains all essential amino acids and no gluten, which framed it as insurance against future food shortages. That reputation reached orbit. In the early 1990s, a NASA report recommended quinoa for controlled life support systems, pointing to its dense nutrition and flexibility. A mountain crop, suddenly linked to space travel, flipped expectations overnight. Then came the rush. Between 2000 and the mid-2000s, global demand exploded. By 2022, FAO figures show worldwide production passing 140,000 tons, led by Peru and Bolivia. Higher prices helped many Andean farmers invest in tractors, roads, and education. Yet the boom carried tension. Urban families in La Paz and Lima started paying more for a food that once filled their bowls daily. One Bolivian agronomist summed it up to reporters. "The world calls this a superfood. For us, it was daily bread. In a garden, quinoa feels calm. Sow seeds about 5 millimeters deep, thin plants to 25 to 35 centimeters. Weed early, then step back. Deep roots take over, and in 90 to 150 days, tall stalks carry heavy seed plumes. A grain born in icy mountains, lifted by global markets, and studied for space, quietly asks one thing: what other crops are waiting for this second? Lentils. Seeds small enough to slip through your fingers, yet strong enough to rewrite how humans farmed the earth. Across the ruins of the Fertile Crescent, buried in ancient fire pits, archaeologists keep finding the same charred clue: lentils. We're talking 10,000 years ago, in what's now Turkey and Syria. These weren't snack food. They were survival. Early farmers planted lentils right alongside barley and wheat, but when weather turned cold or dry, it was lentils that held on. That resilience shaped history. Lentils followed humans everywhere: Greece, Egypt, the Indus Valley, as people moved from wild gathering to planned harvests. On rocky hillsides and in winter rain, lentils grew where others failed. And inside those seeds, a hidden protein powerhouse. Modern analysis shows 24 to 30% protein in raw lentils, depending on type. But that's just the start. They carry iron, potassium, folate, and slow-digesting carbs. Their glycemic index? Around 21 to 30, which makes them a top pick for managing blood sugar. One 12-week trial even found that eating lentils daily reduced LDL cholesterol and helped balance post-meal glucose. The journal Nutrients called them low-fat, high-protein, and fiber, a rare triple threat in one food. But what happens under the soil might matter more. Lentils quietly pull nitrogen from the air, thanks to bacteria living in their root nodules. That's why they're called mini nitrogen factories. Unlike wheat or corn, they don't drain the land, they rebuild it. A 2024 study in the Mediterranean showed better wheat yields and richer soil when farmers alternated lentils with cereals instead of planting wheat nonstop. Less erosion, more organic matter, and way less need for synthetic fertilizers. Even in a backyard, that magic holds. Gardeners sow them 2 to 3 centimeters deep, spaced about 5 centimeters apart, and thin them lightly once they sprout. Plants stay under half a meter tall, and they don't ask for much: cool weather, decent drainage, and light watering. Leave the roots in the ground after harvest, and the next crop, whether garlic, kale, or corn, gets a free nitrogen boost. So here's the question: why do lentils still sit off to the side of the plate when they once fed Stone Age villages, lowered cholesterol, and left the soil richer than they found it? Chickpeas. A root system that drills down 2 meters for water and somehow ends up as hummus on your sandwich. Chickpeas go way back, 10,000 years, side by side with wheat and lentils. Archaeologists have found early chickpea remains in Syria and southeastern Turkey, showing just how far back this comfort food goes. From there, it traveled fast into Greece, Egypt, and across to India, where desi-type chickpeas still show up in everything from street snacks to home-cooked meals. But what makes chickpeas special isn't just tradition. They're survival crops, designed for stress. Trials in the American Southwest report chickpea roots digging 1.5 to 2 meters deep, reaching moisture that other crops can't touch. That alone puts them in a different league. Australian and South Asian studies list chickpeas as top-tier break crops, used between cereal plantings to recover soil. Their roots pull up water and leftover nutrients, while their nodules quietly fix nitrogen, adding fertility instead of stealing it. One classic experiment found that when farmers rotated chickpeas with wheat yields jumped between 19% and 73%. And that wasn't just a one-off. The soil was healthier too, with more organic carbon left behind. Now flip the focus to the plate. Cooked chickpeas deliver about 8 to 9 grams of protein per 100 grams, along with fiber, iron, and folate. That combo doesn't just fill you up, it works. A 2016 review in Nutrients reported that eating chickpeas improves satiety, bowel health, and even glucose control. In feeding studies, meals built around chickpeas or hummus caused post-meal blood sugar levels up to 4 times lower than meals with white bread, even with the same amount of carbs. That quiet, stable curve matters, especially for anyone watching blood sugar swings. In the garden, chickpeas are like picky peas that can handle chaos. Sow seeds 2.5 to 5 centimeters deep, space them 7 to 10 centimeters apart, and give them cool weather followed by dry heat. They don't want extra nitrogen. Just wait until the pods go papery and start rattling. Then cut the whole plant, dry it, and strip the pods by hand. By 2023, the world grew over 16.5 million tons of chickpeas, with about 3/4 of it from India's rain-fed farms. It's rare to find one crop that ties together family dinners, falafel shops, and soil regeneration in a single plant. Buckwheat. A crop that races from seed to harvest in 10 weeks, kills weeds with shade, and feeds bees like a flower meadow. Buckwheat looks like a grain, but it's not one. Botanically, it's closer to rhubarb than rice. Yet somehow it cooks like a grain, acts like a cover crop, and behaves like it's been engineered for speed. That's no accident. It's been around for a while. Evidence traces buckwheat farming to southwestern China around 6000 BC, spreading to Japan by 4000 BC, and showing up in European fields by the 14th century. And still, most people overlook it. For farmers, buckwheat's a no-brainer. It grows fast, just 70 to 90 days from seed to harvest, and doesn't need fancy soil or perfect weather. That alone makes it useful. But its real power? It smothers the competition. Buckwheat closes its canopy fast, creating dense shade that chokes out warm season weeds before they even get started. The SARE handbook calls it the speedy short season cover crop, and for good reason. Its roots grab hold of hard-to-reach phosphorus, and when the plant dies back, that nutrient gets released straight into the soil, ready for the next crop. But there's a twist. As soon as it starts blooming, just a few weeks in, buckwheat covers itself in tiny white flowers, and pollinators go crazy. Bees love it, and what they produce is even more surprising. Buckwheat honey is dark, strong, and tests show it has more antioxidants than pale clover honey. One review even called it a powerful antioxidant that helped calm coughs and soothe throats in clinical trials. So it works in the field and in the kitchen. On the plate, buckwheat is naturally gluten-free, high in magnesium, B vitamins, and about 13 to 14% protein raw. Cooked, it gives you around 8 grams of protein and 3 to 4 grams of fiber per 100 grams. What really makes it stand out is rutin, a unique flavonoid with antioxidant effects that researchers link to better blood pressure and reduced inflammation. In the garden, it couldn't be easier. Just broadcast the seed after frost, rake it in about 1 to 2 centimeters deep, water once, and wait. Within a week, you've got green. By week 4, it's a thick, weed-proof carpet. Mow it at bloom, and the mulch you get back feeds your soil with phosphorus and organic matter. So here's the wild part. This thing acts like 5 tools in one, and yet it still waits quietly at the edge of most gardens. Which begs the question, how many other crops have we forgotten? That could be fixing everything we broke? Buried in forgotten fields and old myths, these 5 crops carry stories of survival, strength, and secrets we're only just beginning to remember. The future didn't start with tech. It started with seeds.